will be a quicker one today than some of the ones I've done lately. So today I'm going to be discussing the belief that being skinny automatically means you're healthy, or losing weight, going from overweight to a lean weight, must mean you're automatically healthy. And I think this is something that's really compromising the health of people in many ways, both mentally and physically. So this little picture on the screen here is a good thing to sort of keep in mind, where instead of basing what the scales or your BMI measurement is, really measure the quality of what you're eating, how well you're exercising, and how well you're resting and recovering. If you're really doing these things quite well, you're more than likely to be in good shape, but also good health as well. If you're only using this, then you may not be that at all, which I'll explain why. So firstly, for most people, weight loss is their goal. All right, so we know that most people want to lose weight, and a lot of the research shows that the average person tries to lose weight about 15 times. I didn't know it was that many times, which is quite remarkable. So but for a lot of people, they don't associate the process of losing weight as being a good experience or anything to look forward to, or fun at all. They basically see it as a punishment or something they have to do in order to get healthy. And some people will think that they'll be happier when they're healthier, which I know many people who are quite lean who are not healthy, who are not happy, and who are not healthy. So being skinny doesn't automatically mean those things. So a lot of the time we feel like our body has to suffer to get to the point of losing weight. Either we have to starve ourselves of foods, or we have to punish ourselves with exercise, or we have to do both at the same time. By all means, we have to eat well, and we definitely have to exercise, but it doesn't have to be in the state of complete suffering. And this is why a lot of people don't give up on their journey, because this is the mindset they have attached to it before they've even begun. So we know that, like, now I'm not endorsing people to be fat by any means or overweight, because we know there's a benefit for being in better shape. Obviously the less belly fat is a real big concern, because that's obviously linked with a lot of the diseases like heart problems and metabolic syndrome, type 2 diabetes, all the cardiovascular problems. So we know that there's a real link with being over, especially the belly fat, to a lot of these diseases. But having a better understanding of what healthy means and what being lean means are two different things. So, because this is where I want to break this assumption, being skinny automatically, probably that's the key word here, automatically makes you healthy. And I'm going to go through, I'm going to probably do a more in-depth video just on BMI, because I think BMI has got a lot of problems associated with it. But anyway, so this is why I say skinny does not mean you're automatically healthy, because I know several people, many people in fact, who have adopted very unhealthy and even dangerous methods, both eating and exercise, to achieve this goal of a six-pack or super lean image, and they're even applauded for it, like on Instagram or whatever. Like, look how ripped he is or she is, or and people aspire to be that, but it's far from healthy in any way, shape or form. Just because you're lean doesn't mean that you're in top physical shape. And so this aspiration to do this at all costs is a real problem in the fitness industry as well. This is even encouraged, and maybe good intentions, but poor understanding of what health means. That's why I'm sort of saying here, health must come first, and then your body will naturally shift itself to a healthier weight range. Obviously, this obsession with losing weight obviously promotes things, really bad problems like eating disorders. So I'm not going to go into great detail on this, but we all know the person who gets obsessed with the scales then starts, their whole mindset of what they think they look like really goes down a downward spiral really quickly, and this can be a real problem especially with younger teenagers, especially females, but even men, boys, trying to get that elusive big chest and stuff, and see steroids as a good option. Do you mean, like, this is just craziness? So, fat burning pills, all sorts of stuff, ridiculous exercise routines to get six packs. All of these are done at the expense of your health. So to just judge someone's health by what the scales or their BMI measurement says is not really health at all. So you add on top of this the comparison of body shaming and Instagram comparisons. Everyone just believes smaller is better. It even puts people off from starting their journey towards improving their health and fitness. So a lot of this stuff is really detrimental in many ways. So this is where I'm sort of make the statement here. I don't think many people are exercising truly for health reasons. I think they're really exercising or eating certain ways just to look good in a mirror, but and they're quite willing to accept the damage they're doing to their health in the meantime to look good, because if they look good, surely they must be good. But it's not true at all. Some interesting research on the Instagram comparisons and stuff, that especially with women, it shows the more women who view Fitspiration images on Instagram are more likely they are to base their self-worth and happiness on how they look. That's why I said earlier, this has become a real mental health problem, and that can be a real hard thing to change once that's sort of set in place. It's just and I think the way we need to really change the way that we look at health and fitness, and especially the way we measure it, which is what this video is about. So another good book to read about, which I've shown this before in several of my website articles and videos. Good book to read. This is a really interesting story of a lady's obsession with exercise and doing exactly all the things we're talking about here, and she was super lean, but she was really almost on death's door, and was continuing to do it because her mindset was stuck in this skinny is better, and it took her a long time to really overcome that mindset. So we have to really understand that health is not just about what the scales say. So here's a good little picture here. This is another example why the scales suck. Is some people can be, this is about BMI as well, like some people may actually be of a good, like in this picture here, actually 80 kilos, and the BMI might say this guy is overweight for his height. Do you mean? When he actually looks like this, so his mindset is like, oh, I'm overweight. Do you mean? Maybe if he doesn't have a six-pack, maybe he's got a six-pack, he's happy, but if, let's say, he's not, there's quite some small stocky people, according to BMI measurements, we class them in the overweight category. So it's where the scales aren't a true measurement of that, and the scales don't actually measure fitness or any of the other things, how well you're sleeping, all the other things that are associated with good health. I'm not saying you can't use the scales, so you could be someone who doesn't have this mindset and really appreciates all the other things, and you understand that the scales are just one part of the measurement that give you some bearing on where you're at with things, but it's not the everything, the be all and end all. You also understand that your weight fluctuates throughout the day, because it can go up and down throughout with the foods we eat. Foods for some foods will retain water. Sometimes a year we will retain more water than others. Females will go through hormonal fluctuations and so forth. So, but however, if you're that person that hates stepping on it because you know it's going to ruin your day if it's not a good result, you really shouldn't use the scales to measure where you're at. There are much better ways that are going to give you a better measurement of where you're at with things. So this is where I like to, instead of using the scales, these are the things that I would prefer to use, and I use this with the clients that I work with, and I'd really try to get them to understand that I'd rather them measure the process of what they're doing to not just lose weight, but to get healthy. If they measure the things that they're meant to do, they will automatically end up with what they want. So instead of like just looking at the scoreboard to see what if the score's changing, I want them to think about the things they need to do to win the game, if it was using a sport as an analogy. So this is where I might look at things like their exercise, like how often they're working out, the quality of their workouts, what are they doing within it, are they improving? If their squat has gone from a bodyweight squat to 100 kilos, something has had to change to be able to do that. So I want to measure the quality of their workouts, the effectiveness of their workouts. I want to measure their strength, I want to measure their fitness. If they're improving, something physically has to have changed. They cannot be an unfit person, they cannot be out of shape and improving at the same time. There's something will have to improve. I also want to measure how well they're sleeping. If they're not sleeping very well, it means they're not very healthy. I want to make sure that we've got strategies in place to improve that. If I want to measure the quality of the food, I want to measure how often they're eating. I want to measure how they're eating, even if they're eating too fast, all those things, digestion. And obviously a big one, stress, how well they're coping or reacting to stress. These are all the things that I measure, because I know if each one of these improves from a better place than where they're at when they started, they have improved their health. And if they improve their health, they improve their fitness. If they improve their fitness, they start to physically change shape. It's a given. All right, you just cannot improve on everything, on these things, and become fatter. It could be possible on some of it, but very, very rare. All right, so I'd rather measure the process than the end result. The end result will take care of itself if I'm doing all of these things really well. So this is where, like a sort of a quicker slide to give this a bit of a picture of what I mean by that. So, if you're doing all of those things, you're going to be heading in the right direction. So, signs you're making progress: you're exercising consistently, you're sleeping better, more productive at work or even at home, basically in a better mood most of the time. You talk happy to yourself, your clothes are starting to fit down. This is probably a better one than the scales. That sort of measures like body fat percentage. You don't need to take skin fold measurements. Your clothes will tell you if you're fitting in better. If you want to add muscle size, if you're a bloke looking for the chest and shoulders, maybe they're a bit tighter around the chest and shoulder region. You're sort of looking at life in a different way. So you're trying to learn new things. You're drinking water instead of like soft drinks and energy drinks and all those things that are really not going to improve your fitness, your health. You enjoy cooking and making your own meals as opposed to buying fast food or restaurant or cafe meals all the time. You tend to choose healthier meals because you like them, not because you have to. It's not like a punishment, it's because you enjoy it. It's the variety, the different flavours, even the cooking process itself. And you just enjoy being more active. These are all signs of a healthy person that are way more measurable and than the scales are. The scales can't tell me any of this stuff. All right, I could lose weight on the scales, but not be changing body fat at all. Just probably lost muscle mass, probably got fatter. Do you mean? So that's where these scales are not a good measurement, and we really need to get away from using them as the be-all and end-all. So I hope you enjoyed. This is quite a quick video. I might do a longer one about specifically on BMI and things like that, and some interesting concepts relating to being overweight. But I just really wanted to ram home this this message about overusing the scales as a measurement test. Now, if you want more information, check the description under the video here, because there's heaps of links that'll give you additional information on things we've discussed. Other than that, I'll see you on our next video.